Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are at Starbucks. We having strategy meetings. We having strategy meetings about. Go ahead. We having strategy meetings about the politics in Maryland, the corruption in the police department, the corruption in the fire department, how they steal people's pensions. We're gonna talk about how they steal people's pensions in the fire department, the police department, the school board when they stole money. When I put that toilet in front of the school board, it was about the firemen because I was dealing with firefighters. It was about the police department and the racism and the corruption. Today we're going to talk to me and Brian Vaith ran for governor and lieutenant governor. I don't know how we're going to get this in there.
That's right.
I'm going to flip it around. This is Brian Vaith. I ran as the lieutenant governor. He ran as governor in 2014. In 2014, Larry Hogan had us removed. Tell him why Larry Hogan had us removed from running for office.
Because we were going to prosecute corruption. No holds barred. We were going to go all in on that. And it was 2 days after I said that at a forum.
We was in Severn, Maryland, right?
Yeah, Severna Park. Yeah.
Severna Park, right?
Right.
And I was wearing a hoodie, right? I didn't wear no khakis, no Dockers. I wore a hoodie, and they didn't even want me in the room because I didn't dress appropriately.
Right.
I wear a hood because that's what I wear when I go to work, and I'm good in the hood. Tell them your story, Brian. Tell them what they did to you.
Well, I was a fireman for 13 years. I got caught in a flashover and broke my back, and they put me out of fire department, retired me, and they denied me of my pension. Illegally denied me of my pension, and ever since, while I'm trying to address this in the court, they're committing fraud by submitting fabricated evidence, fabricated affidavits to get cases thrown out, and it's widespread. It's just not me. If it was just me, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on out here doing it, but it's so widespread, and it's happening to so many people that people need to know about what their government lawyers are doing in these courts and how they're getting away with being corrupt, because when they allow this to happen and they allow these lawyers to commit fraud on the court, it only empowers them to commit even more corruption. So it's got to stop. That's all got to end.
Tell them about our visit to the Department of Justice.
Oh, they told us that our complaints will be thrown into a black box and never be seen again. And that's not the right answer. I met with Ryan Dorsey, councilman. When I went in to meet him about this situation, he wanted to immediately defend the city. Whereas if he's a representative of our city, he should have said, let's get to the bottom of this, rather than, start defending the city right off the bat. He has no idea what's going on here. But, that's the way it is nowadays, and that's how these representatives are. They're going to defend their actions before they represent you, because if the story got out and the truth got out, none of these people would be reelected to office. They'd all be voted out.
We went to the Department of Justice with Marcella Holloman. We went with Brian Vaith, and we went with my story. My story was directly addressing the courts and the corruption in the courts, all right? Kidnapping me. And we've been fighting this fight I've been fighting since 2007. How long you been fighting?
I've been out here just as long. I've been out here since, it happened in 2003, but I didn't file suit until 2007. So, about the same time. I mean, what they're doing is they're closing off our avenues to redress our legislature. Article 4 of the Maryland Declaration of Rights gives us the exclusive right to police the internal workings of our government. Read Article 4 of the Declaration. And they're closing off all these avenues that we have to investigate our corrupt officials. The only way now that any corrupt official gets prosecuted is if the state brings the charges. Not from us. Not
from a private citizen.
Not from a citizen.
We went to see Lisa Gladden. Tell them about Lisa Gladden and GOP Carter, and tell them about the laws they wrote to keep citizens from accessing the grand jury.
Yeah, the grand jury has several roles, and in the city, they perform 4 functions. One is to investigate civil rights in the prison system. So they investigate the prison system. Then they have to investigate anything that's brought to them by the state's attorney and return indictments on that. Another thing is to investigate complaints brought by the people. You're supposed to be able to just go up and knock on the door and be able to request the grand jury foreman to investigate your claim. And then the last thing is, in the city it used to be that they would investigate whatever a judge told them to. Now, like in 2011, they investigated the bias in the media. And the grand jury found that it was so biased that the people should start their own oversight committee, to hold these people in the media accountable. After that, it was shut down. Lisa Gladden introduced legislation that effectively took all that away from us. She went in and said the city does an extra investigation and it shouldn't be that way, it's costing them too much. And that was the investigation the judge ordered them to, like the one with the bias in the media. Well, they wanted to get rid of that because it could no longer work in their favor anymore. So they wanted to remove that one element of the judge telling them what to investigate. So they introduced legislation that took it all away from us, and now we can't get into it. The judge should not be playing any role in who gets in front of that grand jury. That is all done by law. Law says that you have the right. The judge should only be applying the proper application of the law to the grand jury, to the members of the grand jury.
The grand jury is supposed to investigate prisons, all right? I'm a prisoner's right advocate. I blew the whistle on the prison industry in Maryland and in Illinois. Scott Schellenberger, Marilyn Mosley, Greg Bernstein, Brian Frost, Doug Gansler refused to give me access to the grand jury. You kidnapped me in February of 2011 because I went to the courts about your prison industry. The money, the racketeering, the fraud in the courts. I named the judges, the lawyers, and the politicians that get paid off of that. Don't hate the play, hate the game, dog. I just follow your rules. Like I said, I am Dred Scott. Brian, did you find out about being black in Baltimore?
Oh, yeah. Long time ago.
Brian found out about being black. He was like, the law say this, the law say that. I laughed at his ass when I first met him. I said, you're going to find out that law only works for white people with money.
You said to me, welcome to being a black man in Baltimore, bro. I'll never forget it.
Welcome to being a black man in Baltimore. I told him that the law don't work for black people. The law only works for the people with connections and power. See, I used to work for the people with connections and power, and I could do anything I wanted. So I wrote a book and a documentary, and I've been filming y'all since 2006. Governor O'Malley's Mind Machine, Brandon Scott. You feel me? Everything that Governor O'Malley created, I've been filming and watching. And I'm going to destroy Governor O'Malley's machine behind the grand jury. Congressman Cummings and me got a meeting supposed to be this month. Every 6 weeks we supposed to meet. I want access to the grand jury. I want to use the court and the Constitution the way it's supposed to be for all of America. Black, white, red, yellow, and green. If you don't give me access to the court and access to the grand jury, no, let me say this right. If you don't give us access to the court and access to the grand jury, you got to deal with it. It's white justice and black justice. It's just us. And it ain't going to be just us. We want the Department of Justice to get my paperwork. Judge Bennett got my paperwork. Brian Frost got my paperwork. Chief Hyatt got my paperwork. The city council got my paperwork. Prosecute Scott Schellenberger, y'all gonna have to deal with this shit. President Trump got my paperwork because he talking about corruption in Baltimore. Dog, I'm gonna give him the inside scoop with cherries on top. Handle your business because it's coming. Mic check! Anywhere I go, that's how I'm gonna get down. Anywhere we go, it's the best of both worlds. White justice and black justice coming for justice. You understand?
Time to get together, folks, on this.
Time to get together. Take the color out the equation and put the law to work. Put the law to work, because the law ain't supposed to care if you're black or white. It's supposed to be the law. Supposed to be colorblind. So we're going to lift her skirt up and see what she's working with. I'll holler at you.